again, on Singy with his 5 disciplines, one of them being mental models, certainly was new to me when I first explored his concept. And although nothing totally new or dramatic, but mental models sounds like something that we average people don't deal with. But what it comes down to is mental models are those sort of built-in assumptions and pictures and stories we have stored in our mind. So when we look at someone or something or see something happen, we automatically, unconsciously draw certain conclusions. And why mental models and understanding them are so important in terms of leading change and understanding systems thinking is that because we have different models, when you lead a group, when you try to get a group to make a change, aligning those models is very critical. It's essential that you kind of get somebody on the same page to start. And if you proceed in dealing with an issue without making an attempt to align those, sort of getting people to share how they picture things, making sure at the starting point and bringing about change, you got everybody kind of together seeing things the same way, it's not going to work very well. In a typical change effort, for an example, where technology is involved, just use one example, if everyone is not aligned into how things are going forward, sometimes technology folks charge ahead from their point of view, making change, and not taking into consideration the processes that want to be done differently, or how human resources are going to be dealt with in terms of the talents to do things differently. So getting people on the same page can make a huge difference. And it's why mental models are so important. Another aspect of it, I read the book Blink, suggested by a friend one time, and it got into mental models. And what the lesson was there is that our mental models have an influence, significant influence on us, and sometimes even if we don't want to, I mean, they're just there. And the example was that, a lot of times as individuals we believe in diversity, believe in inclusion, including people with different backgrounds, etc. But if we haven't had any actual experience, we may believe it, but if we haven't had experience with folks with different backgrounds, different ethnicities, etc., we're not going to be what we think we would. In other words, I grew up in a community where it was basically lily white, and that's just the way it was. I was raised by a mother who made it very clear. The example was 1947. She made clear I understood that Jackie Robinson playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers, that was significant. And I should understand that lesson and appreciate it. So philosophically, I was raised to be accepting of people of color. But it was still awkward until I had actually had experience with African Americans, to the point where then it was natural, it was automatic. But until I had the experience, even though I philosophically was prepared, I wasn't there yet. And it wasn't until I was elected in office and had an experience in the state capitol and hiring African Americans and working with African Americans that I really reached the point where it was very comfortable, natural, automatic, and I kind of got my mental model corrected.